Hey everyone, JC of Starcraft here, bringing you Game 1 of the quarterfinals for the Go for SC2 August Final Cup between WhiteRa and Naama. So, action getting started here on Kulos Ravine. WhiteRa going to be spawning as the red Protoss in the upper left-hand corner, and Naama going to be spawning as the blue Terran in the bottom right-hand corner. The August Go for SC2 are the top 8 players who have accumulated points throughout the month, playing on every Wednesday and Sunday in those tournaments, and these are the top 8. So some of the top players in StarCraft 2 right now for sure. WhiteRa, of course, needs no introduction, one of the top Protoss players out right now. And Naama, a very young player from Finland, an incredibly strong and strategic Terran player. I've casted a whole bunch of his games and looking forward to see what he can do here. In the rest of the tournament, only 8 players are going, and they are playing right now. It's kind of funny. They started a bit late. I think everything was supposed to have been finished a while ago, but Battle.net Europe went down for a while. So the live stream was done by the Muslin and Taker, I think is his name. They were just kind of vamping for quite a while. It's kind of funny. And one of the questions that was posed to Muslin at the time was how he has such a high win rate on Battle.net. The Muslin is something like an 83% win rate after playing 200 games, which is insane. But anyways, back to the action here. WhiteRa gonna be looks like he's gonna go with the pretty standard opening, 12-13 on that gateway, and probably 14 for the assimilator going down as soon as he gets enough, pumping it out. Or maybe not. Maybe he's gonna wait a little bit longer and build up the number of probes that he has, as he is scouting right now, getting the first scout down and seeing that they are in the cross position. Naama going to go with the very standard Terran opening, 12-13 Rax refinery right there, and it looks like finally WhiteRa going to be throwing down 1-5 Naamas. Looks like there's some lag going on, of course, and the observers are dragging things down just a little bit. Who is casting this game? I'm not really sure. WhiteRa is in this game, so interesting. And right now it looks like things going pretty standard for both players. I actually don't know if they've met before or challenged each other before. I'm sure they've definitely watched preparing for this each other's VODs and replays as well. So WhiteRa going to be pumping out. Why is this rallied all the way down here? I'm not entirely sure. It's going down to the goal and maybe changing it up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Possibly going through and keeping this probe here. So might be throwing down some sort of proxy later on. We'll see right now. Meanwhile, it looks like Naama is going to be getting out a kind of a decently early Reaper, but a scouting Reaper to begin with. Probably going to transition over to Marauders at some point, setting up the bunker here. This is probably the default position to set up a bunker against your Protoss opponent, as they have a very hard time running past that. They'll take way too much fire along the way. And so first Zealot is out and first Stalker is out for WhiteRa. Going back to what I was saying earlier, some of the other players in the top 8, you have Naruto and Sake, and Demaga is definitely a favorite, but he's facing off against Braddock in the quarterfinals. So, and kind of an unfortunate matchup there. And you also have Naniwa and Tarson battling each other out. WhiteRa now going to be breaking down his rocks, and looks like he's going to be possibly opting to take the natural up on the cliffs right here. And Naama, meanwhile, looks like he's going to be going for some sort of 1-1-1, very late factory, though. I think he was trying to scout out his opponent and see maybe what was going on in WhiteRa's base. The factory got thrown down. Look at how much gas he has already on there, and now going to be throwing down the starport, making that tech swap right there so that he can pump out, looks like, Banshees right away, and just pumping these out a little bit more for Naama. So tanks and Banshees is my guess, or possibly the Raven. Naama really doesn't like observers in his base, and he's very active about trying to get those out. Probably one of the more active players I've seen. He seems to keep his eye peeled, because you know what he'll do if an observer does come out this game, which it looks like one is coming out right now for WhiteRa. He kind of watches that air distortion and just throws down a scan and gets rid of it as soon as possible. So it looks like, yes, a Banshee is going to be first out for Naama at this point, and I forgot to put my production tab up, which helps a lot in casting because I can kind of keep an eye on multiple things at once. Looks like WhiteRa has broken through the rocks right now, and going to be moving that observer in. We'll see whether or not Naama has really good reaction time and will get rid of that observer or not. Pumping out a few more rings. So 2 Raxes and pretty much a standard 1-1-1 opening, followed by more Raxes so that he can pump out units, and because he's currently 1 basing it right now. 3 Raxes going down. Looks like he's going to be going for some sort of push. Has destroyed his bunker to... is he going to catch it going by? I think he's not going to possibly catch it going by, but WhiteRa is stationed right here, and Naama, I think, going to be pulling back a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. Possibly thinking about expanding at this point. Has he seen what WhiteRa has gotten? No, he hasn't really, but maybe he suspects that that might be a better move. Is Naama going to see this in the air right now? That little distortion right there. And does he have enough to actually throw down the scan? No, he's going to be opting for a mule instead. And it looks like WhiteRa just going to be happily using the distance and getting his expansion going. So Banshee now roaming about for Naama, going to try to explore, do as much harass as he can with this Banshee. WhiteRa does see it incoming and going to try to stop it with the Stalker. Will it be able to take down? Just takes down 1 probe right now, but unable to do too much more at the moment. And the Observer is free and roaming in this game. No Raven yet for Naama, and I'm just curious to see what he's going to do. Does he see that Observer? Then no, he doesn't. So in this particular game, he's not really throwing down the scan and catching that. I have seen them do that in previous games as well, but might just be focused on getting in there and attacking his opponent, who has expanded at the moment. So this Banshee now going around and trying to do more damage, able to take out that sentry no problem. And now moving in with his forces, something that Naama does really well, and I've noticed in other games, is he doesn't give up on the Banshee attack. Even though there's Stalkers harassing, even though this Banshee might actually go down pretty soon, he tries to keep the Banshee harass going for as long as possible and won't shy away from attacking and trying to do some harass. Using the Banshees now foresight onto the high ground, and one of the Banshees goes down, but these tanks now can siege and can see WhiteRa. I'm not sure why those probes were coming out a little bit. Might have been possibly a misclick, but might have been trying to absorb some damage as they come in. Looks like the Nexus for WhiteRa is about to fall at this point. He really just doesn't have enough to engage. Trying to do a drop on top of the tanks right now, and just really should be leading with this Immortal if he can. Drop is going down, but Marines are there reinforcing, and it looks like WhiteRa should be able to hold this off. Taking out pretty much everything. Good move by WhiteRa, but meanwhile Naama has used that Banshee, has taken out the expansion of WhiteRa, and now going to be moving in to try to do as much harassment as possible. Has gotten 3 kills, so it looks like 3 probes already down. Looking at the units lost tab, unfortunately, looks like a bunch of probes have gone down for WhiteRa. He is behind in the harvester count, and meanwhile Naama has gone ahead and saturated his expansion. The Banshee now going to go down to the Stalkers, but great job and great push in by Naama. Naama now just gearing up for the counterattack from his opponent. WhiteRa does know what he has. He is scouting that base pretty actively, and Naama, I think, not really getting rid of the observers at this point. So is he going to get a Raven out? No, just going to be pumping out more, a little bit more Banshees to kind of reinforce. I've noticed that Banshees are starting to get a little bit more popular with Terran players, especially against Protoss. There was this friendly show match between WhiteRa and Murrow that utilized a new build TLO was touting, which was kind of to try to go mass Banshees against your opponent. Cloak not even necessary, but once you build up a critical mass of Banshees, they can really take out a whole bunch of Stalkers pretty well and effectively, especially if you can support them on the ground with something to fire in the air. And it looks like WhiteRa going to be trying to take down the rocks in the back. Naama needs to come in here and try to engage. Tanks are set up. More War Prison drops. A great strategy for WhiteRa to just try to drop on top of the tanks. Still has pretty commanding sight over everything and kind of knows where his opponent is on the move. A Void Ray now coming out for WhiteRa as well to deal with the tanks, and still no detection for Naama. Still hasn't gotten rid of this observer, so WhiteRa is going to have sight the entire game, and that's really going to be to his advantage. Now these Marines are just blasting away. The rocks are going to fall down pretty soon. Naama needs to get back up there as soon as he can, and now the Raven is out, so goodbye, observer. No more free sight for WhiteRa. And now the rocks do go down. He won't be able to engage. This observer is going to go down. WhiteRa is going to be playing with the fog of war like his opponent right now. And now just being chased down by Naama. Naama trying to get in there and do some damage. Trying to flank him actually with a small number of units so that just to trap him in temporarily. The units are taking fire right now, absorbing damage. But meanwhile, that did slow WhiteRa from running into the main of Naama. And everything just now going to be picked off from WhiteRa. Looking at the army, wow, 110 over 59. Not sure, there doesn't seem to have been any sort of crazy drop. I kept my eye on the mini-map, but unfortunately, it looks like the earlier setback for WhiteRa just proved to be and rallying. Wow, very uncharacteristic of WhiteRa right there. 3 Zealots just being rallied straight in and dying on the spot, unfortunately. And so looking at the army count right now, 116 over 64. Naama with the commanding lead, and I just don't think WhiteRa is going to be able to hold off on this attack right now. And just too many forces out onto the field. So yeah, WhiteRa doesn't even have anything here at this point, so this Banshee is just going to take free shots. The Void Rays are coming out, and that might have slowed him down. A great job throwing down these throwing down the missile turrets, which will take, like, you know, mini Marines on the ground just firing away. And a GG from WhiteRa. So Naama going to be taking game 1 of this best of 3 series in the quarterfinals, and looking forward to the next game. This has been JC at Starcraft signing off.